Rather or not, we rise together to reach that sky for the joining together, watch the world pass. Standing out to each worldly crowd, riding the wind for together and understanding the reins. And despite that, but upset the bond, it remains enough to win for the together. We can find the part for together, we can cry for the always be that for the pushing it beat. Heart tag for this, awake you cry for the beating, eating for the love it contains, and falling the ground together for once again it will rain. Someone I have found to share my pain for the enough of the together for the only to tear the crowd, the cloud. Each from the beneath the shroud, enough for the rising your hands together. We can do the only helm and hold the path to the sky. Or it would be the memory for never together complete. Can't hold that self together for the laughing of what was a little only fighting myself. And the looking for the reason for can't hold myself together for the breaking a million pieces that I wanted the sun to shine across that line for the left me of the sun for not the laces so I can run. Laugh and my heart cries in the sadness and the 59 for not the truth for the dream for they would make one song. Scream for the nightmare of the life. Now for them for the dream of love and the happiness and the tear running down my eyes. Dream for the kites of the flying and high in the sky for the matter for how I try for the scare for that you could be the monster under the bed that crawling into your head. Can't be that but the darling for the bleeding of what you have cut. I have hurt, for you have hit me. You wiped your hands for the liquor surprise and broken down bleeding by your side for the running of hiding. Day for the where for the never you know tomorrow believing when I say for the not no away. And I lame, gone enough for the world to move on for the grave and flowers were dry. Earth, my mother will father. I am safe and my soul heals in the tomb. Rest in the abode. That sun will shine. Cause we are here together for the loss, for the letter, for the entry, for this, and the hope to find you pleasantly with enough for the regrets and the bitterness, and always a thought for you to be the only useless friend. Her for you, for the some famous enough to fell in love again, for the always thought you was fine. Oh well, for this is the only saying, for this is the news, for the fakers distilling their own lines, for these to be the balance for the reality star, for you can laugh now, for the imagination telling yourself, for this is something I can find for the remembrance. Whisper these lines of poetry into the dark. I don't know when I'm writing this, but only maybe it was another night time for the flower over a birth, over maybe another world, for another galaxy. It is far unknown for this to be always one, the one that I share my stories to, for the really getting your tooth to the chosen. What was imagined? What was ever to find delightful enough for you to be the spirit, for this to be the leaning of the ear, for this to you can cling to the arm, for the singing of a rendition, adventure to the sunset, for the minute down, for all this to be okay. Delightful enough for the melodious, and this is the sitting inside of the shade and wakening for the blossoms to unfurl. The beating and singing inside of my heart for the life to lurk. Harmonize well enough for the enrapture, encapturement of the beat for the find that spirit. You will rest. Rather or not, we rise together to reach that sky for the joining together, watch the world pass. Standing out to each worldly crowd, riding the wind for together and understanding the reins. And despite that, but upset the bond, it remains enough to win for the together. We can find the part for together, we can cry for always be that for the pushing a beat. Heart tag for this, awake you cry for the beating, eating for the love it contains, and the falling of ground together for once again it will rain. Someone I have found to share my pain for enough of together for the only to tear the crowd, the cloud. Each from the beneath the shroud, enough for the rising your hands together. We can do the only helm and hold the path to the sky. It would be the memory for never together complete. Can't hold that self together for the laughing of what was a little only finding myself. Looking for the reason for can't hold myself together for the breaking a million pieces that I wanted the sun to shine across that line for the left me of the sun for not the laces so I can run. Laugh and my heart cries in the sadness and the 59 for not the truth for the dream for they would make one song. Scream for the nightmare of the life. Now for them for the dream of love and the happiness and the tear running down my eyes. Dream for the kites of the flying and the high in the sky for the matter for how our travel is scared for the monster under the bed that crawling into your head. Can't be that but the darling for the bleeding that you have cut. I have hurt, but you have hit me. You wiped your hands for the liquor surprise and broken down bleeding by your side for the running of hiding. Day for the wherever the never you know tomorrow believing when I say for the running away. I lame, gone enough for the world to move on for the grave and flowers were dry. Earth, my mother, my father. I am safe and my soul heals in the tomb. Rest in your abode. That sun will shine. As we are here together for the loss, for the letter, for the entry, for this and the hope to find you pleasant enough for the regrets and the bitterness and always thought for you to be the only useless friend. Wherever you meet some famous and nothing better, never forget for the always thought you was fine. Oh well, for this and I'm saying, for this and the news, for the figures that still sense. Or it didn't make anything at all. It didn't make out together. Two were one for the surely we. If ever man forever loved by wife, then he will be make the wife unhappy, and man for the comparing of what to the woman, if you can for the prize of love more. Whole of mine for the gold, for all the riches in that, and whole. My love is such, the river that can't quench, for not for the be bought from the love, for the giving giver competence, and this is the love that's such no way for the repaying. The habit's reward for the manifold I pray while we live in the love for the less than so persevere for the love no more for the love live forever. Living together. If ever, two were one for the surely we. If ever man forever loved by wife, then he will be make the wife unhappy, and man for the comparing of what to the woman, if you can for the prize of love more. Whole of mine for the gold, for all the riches in that, and whole. My love is such for the river that can't quench, or not for to be bought from the love, for the giving giver competence, and this is the love that's such no way for the repaying. The habit's reward for the manifold I pray while we live in the love for the less than so persevere for the love no more for the love live forever. Living together, we're in heaven. For what does mankind hate? For the people that based upon, for that the race, for the ignorance and education of the government deciding upon the place, for the people that regardless of the color of their face or the inside their heart, for the example of the grace. People that are most powerful, people under the sun, under the economic gun. But the people should always not be exploited because of the color of the skin. For the white, for the people that reject, for the world, for the only to begin, for the color, for the bliss, to be a leader, for the advocate, for the separatism, for the becoming dead. Bodies will stink, becoming dirt. The devil will have the souls for all races to forever hurt, for the love of this most powerful force. Throughout the world, for the conquering all obstacles, for the causing a race with the minds of the world, for the can't taking the money, for the religion, for the family hate, then we'll be died, but we can't take love. Send it back to those who will cry, for only who love, for the cure, for the grieving, and only heart, for the causing no good, for the son or daughter to give you another start, for the people that just humans, regardless of the ethnic pride. You should just constantly look for the spiritual inside, for the forgetting about that, for the discriminating. You're eliminating all for that, for the be the rent, for the hesitance, and everything that you can find for the writing together. You would not solve that for the kind of words that you can find deeds, for the spreading of all joy to keep themselves together, for letting all those remedies to the blue, for the vision, the hope that's in how you can learn to cope. There are no way for the greeting with a smile in each day. It was the past memory to come together for the boom versus that, writing to patch yourself for the clinging and what you can find, soldering together for the roads. They will enjoy for the stretching. And one scan for the threading and the breathing, for this be dancing. Mocking yourself for the chasing forever for being array. Afraid when we had that for the living in the together, sleeping, speaking whispers. It was only for that, for the sleeping at the moment to wait, for not sleepy at all. For it was 1,000 arms around your sound asleep, for the slipping of what you can crap. Curtain window from while you slept to watch that sheep pass in snow. Flock stalk for the shepherd, the feared for shivering. And isolated for the desolate, for the cold, for the enter my heart to the foes, to those that be the clinging, the clothes in darkness, and sleeping together for how tired you were. It will come together to last ride forever, for good, for all, for be soberly acquired, discreet for that, for the wild, for not to me, for the promising always feel, for the kindly interest of a willing, for thinking you feel. All that acted as I do, for the promising which you can find in me, for the friend, for the sister, for the it might be, for the still dissatisfied, for the certainly most polite, for this exactly what was right, for the acting improperly, except for the indeed, insisting on inviting me to come with him for the last ride, for this a little doubt, not for the weather distinctly defined, if you buy science, it was seemingly to see, for this the writing for me, they won't say, for the it was extremely vexed, seeing what the past, for nobody knew. Forward to stir that fire for the events before I could, for well retired enough for the sudden what was felt, for the great alarm, for the unlicensed of an arm, for the embracing what was no charm enough, for the awfully glad let me go. This is beginning to ride for my steed, for the washing of fresher, which indeed for the first and thought I little, for the escaping get a little of the grave, for the dust of the rose up at either side, for the companion, bored for strong enough.
That was the meaning.
Forever, 2-1 for the shooter. Forever, 2-1 for the shooter. We, ever man, forever loved by wife. Then, even to be like the wife and happy and man for the preparing of what to the woman. If you can, for the prize of love more. Hold of mine for the gold, for all the riches in that and hold. My love is such with the river that can't quench, or not for the reward from the love, for the giving of competence. And this is the love that's such no way for the repaying. The habit's reward for the manifold I pray while we live for the love, for the less than so persevere for the love no more for the love. Live forever, living together. We're in heaven. For what does mankind hate? For the people that based upon, for that the race, for the ignorance and education of the government deciding upon the place, for the people that regardless of the color of their face or the inside their heart, for the example of the grace. People that are most powerful, people under the sun, under the economic gun. For the people should always not be exploited because of the color of the skin. For the white, for the people that reject, for the world, for the only to begin, for the color, for the religious, be a leader, for the advocate, for the separatism, for the becoming dead. Bodies will stink, becoming dirt. The devil will have the souls for all races to forever hurt, for the love is the most powerful force throughout the world, for the conquering all obstacles, for the causing a race, for the really minds the world, for the can't taking the money, for the religion, for the family hate, then when we die, but we can't take love. Send it back to those who cry, for only who love, for the cure, for the grieving and only heart, for the causing no good, for the son or daughter to give you another start, for the people that just humans regardless of the ethnic pride. We should just constantly look for the spiritual inside, for the forgetting about that, for the discriminating, for eliminating all for that, for the rent, for the hesitance, and everything that you can find for the writing together. You will not solve that for the kind of words that you can find deeds for the spreading of all joy to keep themselves together, for letting all those remedies to be blue for the vision and hope that somehow you can learn the code. There are no way for the creating of this mountain each day. It's the past memory to come together for the boom verses that writing to patch yourself for the thinking of what you can find, saw them together for the roads. They will enjoy for the stretching. The one scan for the threading and the breathing, for the this be dancing. Mocking yourself for the chasing, but forever for being away. Way when we had that for the living and the never sleeping, speaking whispers. It was only for that, for the sleeping at the moment you wake, for not sleepy at all. For it was 1,000 arms around your sound of sleep, for the sleeping of what you can crack. Curtain window from while you slept, to watch that sheep pass the snow. Flock stalk for the shepherd, for fear for shivering. Isolated for desolate, for the cold, for the enter my heart, the fold, for those who be the clinging, the clothes of darkness, and sleeping together for how tired you were. To come together to last ride forever, for good, for all, to be soberly acquired. Discreet for that, for the wild, for not to need, for the promise and always feel, for the kind of interest of the willing, for thinking you could. All that acted as I do, for the comments that you find in me, for the friends, for the sister, for the it might be for the still dissatisfied vibe, for the certain most polite, for this exactly what was right, for the acting properly, except for the indeed. Insistent on inviting me to come with and pour the last ride for this a little doubt. Not for the weather instinctively fine, for blind signs, it was seeing you see for this, the writing for me, you won't say, for the extremely vexed. Seeing what the past from nobody knew. Forward to stir that fire from the advance before I could, for well retired enough, for the sudden what was felt, for the great alarm, for the unlicensed of arm, for the embracing what was no charm enough, for the all for the glad, let me go. This is beginning to ride for my steed, for the washing, refreshing, what's in the deep, for the first thought I a little, for the escape and get a little grave, for the dust, the rose, like the deep side, for the companion. Or if it's strong enough, for the looking at what you can find and writing the verse with undoubtedly. Swear for the cursing and wondering where he was with the purse, but this is the summary of arrival, speaking to me for the smile. Move once for a while, for nothing, fixing the words with desperate air. Wonder what I was thinking about for the reading in the verse, for the subtle and deeper, no doubt for the pretending of the man for hours we can find a whisper for this, but not perhaps a do. Unseen flickering of the weather, had a rip for the skirt. Pressing no man for the ink hand, and a hurry for the longer for the ride, for the never be smiling for the secret, we finally get through the burning sky for the clouds abound. The cowardice is driving down the way for the hills to say to me for the this and me. Forever. Peace. And love. And hope. And music and song. Death alone. Change. Beauty. Fun. Trust. Rising together to watch the sky.
So the world's still so fair to me.
together, watch the world pass. Standing out to each worldly crowd. Riding the wind for together, understanding the reins. And despite that, but upset the bond, it remains enough to win for them together. We can find the part for together. Whether or not we rise together to the recessed sky for the joining together, watch the world pass. Standing out to each worldly crowd. Riding the wind for together, understanding the reins. And despite that, but upset the bond, it remains enough to win for them together. We can find the part for together. We can cry for always be that for the pushing and beating. Our tag for this, we can cry for the beating. Love it contains and follow around together.
So the months go so fast. So the months go so fast to be what will be left when you're gone? And it's
Whether or not we rise together to the recessed sky for the joining together, watch the world pass. Standing out to each worldly crowd. Riding the wind for together and understanding the reins. And despite that, but upset the bond, it remains enough to win for them together. We can find the part for together. We can cry for always be that for the pushing and beating. Our tag for this, the waking cry for the beating, eating for the love it contains and follow the ground together for once again it will rain. Someone I have found to share my pain for the nothing together for the only to tear the crowd the cloud. Each for the beneath the shroud, enough for the rising hand together. We can do the only hand and hold the path to the sky. They would be the memory for never together complete. Can't hold that self together for the laughing of what was the little only part to myself. For the looking for the reason for can't hold myself together. For the breaking a million pieces that I wanted the sun to shine across that line. For the left me of the sun, for not the laces for so I could run. Laugh and my heart cries in the sadness and the 59. For not the truth, for the dream, for they would make one song. Scream for the nightmare of the life. And after then for the dream of love and happiness and the tear running down my eye. Dream of the kites flying in the high in the sky. For the matter for how I try for the scare. For the we could be the monster under the bed that crawling into your head. Can't be beat up but the darling for the bleeding of what you have cut. I have hurt, but you have hit me. You wipe your hands for licking surprise for broken and bleeding by your side for the running of hiding. Day for the wear, but never you know tomorrow I'm leaving when I say for the night. I lame, gone enough for the world to move on for the grave and flowers to dry. Earth for my mother with father. I am safe and my soul heals in the tomb. Rest in the road, that sun will shine. We are here together for the loss, for the letter, for the entry, for this, the hope to find you pleasantly enough for the regrets and the bitterness. And always thought for you to be your only useless friend. Heard for you for some famous enough to fell in love again, for the always thought you could find. Oh well, for this is the only saying, for this is the news, for the fakers distilling their own lives, for these to be the balance, for the reality to starve, and you can laugh now, for the magic you're telling yourself, for this is just something that can find for remembrance. Whisper these lines of poetry into the dark. I don't know when I'm writing this one, only maybe it's another nighttime for the flower over birth, over maybe another world, for another galaxy, it is far unknown, for this to be always one. The one that I share my story to, for the really the giving the truth and the chosen. What was imagine? What was the ever to find delightful enough for you to be the spirit, for this to be the leaning of the ear, for this to be you cling to the arm for the singing of the rendition, venture to the sunset for the minute down for all this to be okay. Delightful enough for the melodious and this is the sitting inside of the shade and waking evil the blossoms to unfurl. Beating and stinging inside of my heart for the life to blow. Harmonize well enough for the enrapture. You can catch him at the beat for to find that spirit. You will rest home, alive, together, alone. Maybe give Marley for the anger that feels the kill, the thrill for the race of the will. Race that hill for the wrath of this is the wrath of the man for the future shines that plan for the Marley get the front, the back, the answer yourself for the answer, never the thought, the question. There is the danger for the state to hate, the mind to collaborate, for the power for the might, snatch the steam, for the steam, the song, for the divided, the right, for wrongs, and you can find the deputy for all the seed for the bones, and there together we are only good. And did it make sense? didn't make anything at all. We didn't make out. Together to find that doom for the bloom, for the transient in nature, for the solid, for the form, for the panic unleashed, for the hyperventilating, for the mornings that broken, for the stability torn from deep in the hole, for the changes you accelerate, for the blending and the blurring of all pieces without a safe haven for me to be in sight, for the nowhere to begin, for the buying down, for unity, flee from the sanity, for the consciousness you share, for it's never lost and stripping of my value, for the humility, for the only reunion of every cause. It would be for you to pay attention for the browsing of what you can find in the poem. Together apart from had been grown, for the out, for the love, for which we have for the start, for the only reasons to hold us together, for the living each day, for the living lie beside me, for the cold bed at night, for the together apart. Another night is right for this, for the long what we have, for the love, for the day, for the heart, for the left we reign. Together apart together begin. Never the friend, and I don't want you to be the enemy, for the last ride together, for all the work together, for the drying other which we can find the working to for every long enough to giggle. I can't bring that. It was you for the now, for the dragon, for the dagger, for the inside the heart, for the writing of what the family can come apart. The decking of halls to celebrate for the season will end. It would bend like this is steel for the iron, made from gold.
I want to see that flame burn higher.
Adorable like a dream from the laughing of whether you can find that resistance, saying the time is being beautiful, the realm you can find your mystique.
What's the match?
For the streets of deciding the sacred word for the small baby.
Who's the next?
What you prefer you will hear inside that last poem. The last part.
Who's next in store? Who's in that? Form your fashion of a category, or who's be categorized into that little particular part of your box. With a little intelligence for the IQ, for the only send you for the sin or acronym for you to be antagonized. In one place undivided for the Bible was only liable to tell you nothing but the figment of your imagination for the retelling for Jarrell for the reader be rather but not we rise together.
Rather but not we rise together.
I wanna see that flame.
I want to see that flame burn higher. Light that fire. Who got a match? What's the match gonna be? Who's the battle? Who's the next? Who got the woo woos? Who's next in store? Who's in the next, huh? Who's the next? Who be the next? I can never be forming your fashion of a category, or who's to be categorized into that little particular part of your box. With a little intelligence for the IQ, for the only send you for the sin or acronym for you to be antagonized. In one place undivided for the Bible was only liable to tell you nothing but the figment of your imagination for the retelling for Jarrell, for the reader between the lines and be with his spirit in the heart like a language. You speak that Greek or that Latin tongue. You're hung like up on the cross with your head tight, wondering why the questions will only be answered with an experience to die for. It would be classified inside your newspaper in the classified section. Sector. You were the section. You were the occultist. You were the magician. You were the Alzheimer's, and you forgot everything that you ever read and learned that you were only being concerned for the audience's attention was only that for the meeting until it was adjourned, and you're not making your point. You're not the protractor. You're not a pro at all. You're only the factor for the situation is only blacker than you can be. Whoopi Goldberg's balls. As though you had a cause for the cause and effect, that you can affect the cause and everything can be your pause and your flaws, and who has pause to read those lines? Who hold the law? Who's reading between that for the statutes will only send you of a liberty for the just you for being understanding and believing in everything except you just being. I can see that truth, the everlasting star will only there be poor. I see it burn. That super hypernova, get me hyper than you can ever. Right inside of the nova over the signal hills and with my mother. Backseat, hands up in the air, touching that fabric and Velcro. Stop jumping, stuck, midnight. For the forsaken forever, believe in you. are the waves, the ripples in my sea. I believe in being a tree. Spread your colors into the seasons will ever move me, soothe me, like evolution ever grew me. Another train of thought. This is only a simile for the I'm too tired to think inside of my thinking caps, and it was off. Couldn't find it, it was misplaced, placed in a place where misjudgment could have looked over it, like as though it was in a jury in a court. Court who's a holds a court for the courtship. You're an abandonment for an adornment. Or who is that doorman? Damn it. Miss Atlantic for this, just stranded for this to be inside of Atlantic for the 3-point triangle shape will leave you in a dissipated, or maybe you emancipated for the proclamation of your destination to be the concern. You're not the Columbus for the rapist and never had a perm. Line to break it up straight for the tight ship. Run a tight boat, tight lip, tight ripping, rest in peace. I want to see that flame burn higher. Light that fire. Who got a match? What's the match gonna be? Who's the battle? Who's the next? Who got the woo woos? Who's next in store? Who's in the next, huh? Who's the next? Give me the next. I can never be forming your fashion with category, or who's to be categorized into that little particular part of your box. With a little intelligence for the IQ, for the only send you for the sin or acronym for you to be antagonized. In one place undivided for the Bible was only liable to tell you nothing but the figment of your imagination for the retelling for Gerald, for the reader between the lines and be with his spirit in the heart like a language. You speak that Greek or that Latin tongue. You're hung like up on the cross with your head tight, wondering why the questions will only be answered with an experience to die for. It would be classified inside your newspaper in the classified section. Sector. You were the section. You were the occultist. You were the magician. You were the Alzheimer's, and you forgot everything that you ever read and learned that you were only being concerned for. The audience's attention was only that for the meeting until it was adjourned, and you're not making your point. You're not protractor. You're not pro at all. You're only the factor for the situation is only blacker than you can be. Whoopi Goldberg's balls. As though you had a cause for the cause and effect, and you can affect the cause and everything it be your pause and your flaws, and who has pause to read those lines, who hold the law, who's reading between that for the statutes will only send you of a liberty for the just you for being understanding and believing in everything except you just being. I can see that truth, the everlasting star will only there be poor. I see it burn. That super hypernova, I get me hyper than you can ever. Right inside of the nova over the signal hills and with my mother. Backseat, hands up in the air, touching that fabric and Velcro. Stop jumping, stuck, midnight. For the forsaken forever, for belief in you are the waves, the ripples in my sea. I believe in being a tree. Spread your colors into the season will ever move me, soothe me, like evolution ever grew me. Another train of thought. This is only a simile for the I'm too tired to think inside of my thinking caps, and it was off. Couldn't find it, it was misplaced in a place where judgment could have looked over it, like as though it was in a jury in a court. Who's a court for the courtship. You're in an abandonment for an adornment. Or who is that doorman? Damn it. Miss Atlantic for this, just stranded for this, be inside of Atlantic for the 3-point triangle shape will leave you in a dissipated, or maybe you emancipated for the proclamation of your destination to be the concern. You're not the Columbus for the rapist who never had a perm. Why don't you break up straight for the tight ship? Run a tight book, tight lip, tight ripping, rest in peace.
It's all